Today I'm going to be breaking down how you can use Super Hog Riders here at Townhall 16 to 3-star any base. So here is the army composition that we are going to be used, and the first thing I want to point out is the fact that we're going to be kicking off this attack with a Royal Champion charge. That means you're going to need those electro boots. If you don't have them, this attack probably is not going to be possible for you. There might be other ways you can get around it, but in this specific strategy guide we're going to be using those all important electro boots. Moving over to the actual army composition itself, it's predominantly made up of those 17 Super Hog Riders. They are going to be crushing through the back end of the base for us, clearing up where the Royal Champion couldn't quite get to. So let's jump in and we'll break it down. So the first thing we're going to be doing when identifying where we're coming in with that Royal Champion is trying to pick off specific parts of the base that have high impact defenses. These defenses predominantly are going to be things like scatter shots, the Eagle Artillery, Inferno Towers, and of course the Town Hall itself. We're looking to take down buildings that are going to cause our Super Hog Riders any sort of problems, so trying to take them down with your Royal Champion charge is really important. So if we hop into this, we're going to be coming in from this side over here. You see, of course, those electro boots that I did speak about, we're going to be bringing them in. We also have that Spirit Fox, of course, coming in with the Royal Champion. That's just going to give her an additional bit of invisibility. That, of course, means you don't need to use the invisibility spells every single second that it's up. Sometimes that Spirit Fox, like right now, is going to come in clutch and she's going to give you just that little bit more, so you can make those invisibility spells last longer. So we've already started right into the kind of first few sections of the base here, clearing out a couple of defenses, but what you'll also notice, we have lured out the clan castle troops, and we have a pretty tricky clan castle troop selection here to actually deal with. A couple of witches, which of course those skeletons can sometimes be a real pain, as well as a baby dragon. So what you're going to do, keeping your Royal Champion invisible, you're going to lure these clan castle troops over to a corner using an archer. Just go ahead, stick that in the corner. Typically you're going to find at least one trash building that you're going to be able to deal with. All the meanwhile, let's continue to focus in on our Royal Champion. She's going to be pushing through, dealing with that scatter shot absolutely beautifully, now pushing into the core of the base. Now be very careful here, because we do not want to lose our Royal Champion. We're trying to keep her alive so we can use the recall spell on her, so definitely very important you continue to watch her health. Moving over here to our clan castle troops, you'll see we do actually end up popping down that poison spell onto the double witches, just trying to take them down. As you progress through the back end of this one though, you will use the rest of your heroes, king and queen anyway, to help with that funnel alongside the siege barracks. But all focus right now on that Royal Champion. She was very close to going down. We're just going to continue to try and protect her up with those invisibility spells, allowing her to get through into that core section of the base. But like I said, be super careful that you lose her ability, just like we did there. That was very unfortunate. Try to hold on to that ability if you can, because those Hog Rider that are going to come out of that Hog Puppet are definitely going to help you on the back end. But unfortunately for us there, things not quite going to plan. We end up losing that ability just before we got that recall spell down. But regardless, we move on with the next stage of our attack, and that is going to be our king, our queen, and our siege barracks pushing on the opposite side. So you'll see we've created a beautiful funnel here all the way through into the core of the base, meaning there's no way our troops are going to walk over that way. They've got a very clear path and a set objective to go through the base, and the king and the queen are basically going to be doing the exact same thing over on this left hand side with the help of that siege barracks. So let them do their thing, and all the meanwhile you're then going to go ahead and bring in those Super Hog Riders, keeping a hold of your Grand Warden ability until they're under some really heavy fire. Typically, like you can see right here, this is going to be when we're coming under multi and target infernos, the Town Hall, scatter shots, anything like that. You want to go ahead, pop that ability. Of course, the healing tome that are coming through from the Grand Warden, going to really help you get all the way through that Town Hall. And the good thing about Super Hog Riders is typically they can actually withstand that Town Hall. Sometimes you're probably going to need to hold on to that Eternal Tome ability just a little bit longer, but when they pop, you of course get those hogs and the Hog Riders themselves. They split off and you end up with two different troops, which can really benefit you in the back end. You'll see here, it just looks like we've got an absolute army of just regular riders without their hogs, and they're just going to crush through the back end. We actually end up pretty much swagging our Yetis, which end up coming out of our siege barracks. You can switch up those Yetis to different troops. Super minions work really well just with that long range firing. You can also just bring in more super hog riders or regular hog riders if you wish. There's plenty of options there, but this strategy is incredibly powerful. So let's jump in and take a look at a couple more examples. Next up we have a, pretty much completely opposite base, Townhall on the opposite side. We have that monolith in the core, which is a defense you definitely want to be careful when you're coming in with your royal champion. If it locks onto your RC before you can get your invisibility spell down, there's a high chance she's going to take a significant amount of damage. So definitely be very wary of the monolith, or if there's any single target infernos. But so far so good. We've started off with a beautiful push, looking to get all the way through into the core, timing those invisibility spells, so when a defense is just about to go down, you can go ahead and pop that ability, letting the royal champion just push through these clan castle troops, because we don't particularly want her to lock onto them. We want her to continue focusing on those defenses. But again, we have lured out those clan castle troops to the core, just trying to pull them over just to avoid our royal champion taking too much damage for them or getting tied up with all of those pesky skeletons. Continuing though, now onto that monolith, looking of course to get as much value as possible, using those invisibility spells as much as we need to, looking to avoid popping that RC ability, which we do just managed to do that time. We get the recall spell down, and that RC is protected for when we need to use her on the back end, and this time we have her ability. So you'll see we've created a beautiful funnel all the way from over here through into the core of the base. This means that our troops should have a pretty simple path to hopefully follow round and down into the core of the base. King and queen are both going to be coming in, of course, with that siege barracks coming in yet again, although this time the siege barracks is actually going to be coming from the top section of the base, just helping to create that funnel a little bit more, because we end up with quite a wide path here all the way over this top section of the base, and our hog riders could inevitably get split up. So by bringing that siege barracks on its own from that top section of the base, we should be able to take down a few of these outer buildings, outer defenses as well, concentrating the majority of our super hog riders into the same areas. So whenever we do pop that Grand Warden ability, the healing tome will be able to catch all of them and not just one or two. You can see perfect example of it right there. We end up also catching our royal champion in that eternal tome ability, just making sure we bring her back up because she had taken a significant amount of damage. Pushing through now onto that town hall, we do still have that royal champion's ability, which is definitely going to help us through the back end of this one. Queen and her ability, of course, bringing out a few of those healers just to help her through the back end, but so far so good, looking incredibly powerful. Like I said, honestly for me, Yetis probably are not the best selection to come out on the back end. You're definitely probably better with more hog riders. Super minions, a great choice coming out of there, though they can potentially pick up those black bombs, which we of course do want to try and avoid. But regardless, we end up pretty much swagging the Yetis on all three of these attacks, not really needing them, showing just how strong this strategy is. But it all depends on how much value you can get from that royal champion charge. If you can create a beautiful funnel taking out multiple defenses, it's then super easy through the back end. Those super hog riders, without really any spell support, only really that Grand Warden, can absolutely crush. And for that third and final example, we have a pretty awkward base with double invisibility towers, which of course are never fun to try and deal with, especially when you're coming in with something like a royal champion charge. It can throw her off, she can target random buildings that you weren't particularly looking to get. But regardless, we're going to be pushing through into this base, already taking down that eagle artillery, off to a great start. Now going to progress through onto that multi-target inferno. Remember, you do of course have that spirit fox in there. Try to protect it as well if you can with those invisibility spells, though your main priority is always going to be your royal champion herself. Another one going down, and there is that invisibility spell. Like I said, she changed targets there. It really could have thrown us off, but luckily she doesn't go too far away from the path that we were looking for her to be on. The earthquake, boots, the electro boots, I've completely forgot the name there, coming through and dealing with that Inferno Tower without really our Royal Champion taking any significant damage, and so far we are looking very, very good. Last of those invisibility spells going to be going down right there. Clan Castle troops actually getting sniped off, and we can go ahead and use that recall spell just in time, and we protect up our Royal Champion. Beautiful start to this attack. We're now just going to lure those remaining Clan Castle troops off to this right hand side, use that poison spell to help deal with the witch, and get going with the next stage of our attack, which of course, as with the previous ones, is going to be the king followed by the queen, couple of wizards just to help push them in, and then we can get going with this attack. Super hogs, I would imagine, are probably going to be coming in from this area, though we will just need to wait and see. It looks like that king and queen unfortunately actually making their way into the base, which is funny because a lot of the time you don't actually want them to go in, you want them to kind of walk around the outside, clear some of these outer buildings, but regardless, we're going to be bringing those super hog riders in. They're going to be coming from this bottom section, which was actually a little bit of a surprise, but potentially we adapted the plan on the fly because our heroes at the top there ended up going in rather than coming out. So we dropped the siege barracks down on the bottom section, holding on to that slightly longer than typical, raging up through as we progress through to the town hall. Again, we managed to hold on to that Royal Champion's ability, which is beautiful for us. We can go ahead, pop it, we get that 1 second of invisibility, as well as all those additional hog riders coming out, just helping us to get through the town hall and any of those remaining defenses. But yet again, we're crushing the base without even needing those Clan Castle troops. Absolutely dominant. And if you would like the link for this army, it is down in the description below. As always, thank you for all the support on my recent videos. I really do appreciate all of you guys, and thank you for 1,500 subscribers, an awesome milestone to hit, and I'm looking forward to getting 2,000.